Well, I thought I'd do another little video. I'd done one, and the audio was terrible on it. So I was going to start it over and do it over again. They, I say this is a new camera. I got a new microphone system and everything. So hopefully it's going to be a lot better. But whenever I left off on my part two, Life as a Southern Georgia Boy, it was talking about all the work we had to do and everything. Now, which we got to do other stuff. We got to hunt and fish. And that was our biggest pastime, was hunting and fishing, besides playing. We play some ball, play a little softball or something other. We had an old basketball goal out there. We made a backboard out of some old boards and stuff. And didn't even have a basketball. Had just some kind of round ball we had. And I played with that thing. I know before the school bus come, I played every morning waiting on the school bus. Just, I love playing ball. And, but like I said, we got to hunt and fish and everything. And every now and then Dad would take us to the river and go swimming, which none of us went because we didn't ever go enough to even learn how to swim. And my daddy could swim really good. Like I say, he had that old farmer's tan, where from his shirt sleeve down, dark, from his neck up was dark. Man, took off that shirt, white as a bed sheet. I mean, white. I mean, that was another whole color of white, really. And there was no sandbars out there, we could play with my mama. She'd just sit out there on the sandbar. She didn't even have a swimsuit or nothing, not that I can remember. She might have did, but I can't really remember that. And she'd sit out there, we just played around in shallow water there. My daddy, he found some deep water and he'd do a little swimming. And every once in a while, great once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, maybe, he'd take us to the drive-in. If there was a movie there my mama wanted to see. We'd go out there in the old truck, had the old 57 Dodge truck, step-side truck. And he'd park out there, and us kids, we'd ride in the back, and we'd get there and sit on the hood, or either get up on top of the cab or something other, watch the movie if it's something we was interested in. That, but also at the drive-ins back then, they had a little playground at the bottom of the screen where kids could go play if they wanted to. Had the swing set, seesaw, merry-go-round. Go over there and swing and play and everything over there with other kids and stuff. But like I say, you don't see none of that stuff like that anymore. I mean, because drive-ins was the big thing. There was a walk-in theater, but it was like 35, 40 miles away over in Statesboro, Georgia, and that was a good little drive, so you didn't go over there. And he'd give us a little money. We could get us a hamburger and something to drink, sometimes, or sometimes we didn't get any. Um, but, other than that, we just played around the yard, hunting fish. Old houses back then in Georgia, farmhouse, they was built high up off the ground. You could play up under the porch, had plenty of room. Play up under the porch, whatever, and play out there in the yard and stuff. I mean, one time my daddy got a bicycle for all three of us boys. One bicycle, and it was used. I think he got it for $10. I think it was a Western Flyer from Western Auto, and it was a girl's bike on top of that. But that's what we all learned. That's how all of us learned how to ride a bicycle. Had one bicycle between three boys, and we had a little red wagon. You know, uh, during the summertime we could do a little fishing. If we weren't working in the fields. Uh, Sometimes, when I come in from school, it was, good and warm weather. I grabbed a pole and there's a little stream down the road from the house down there, and had little bit of fish in it. A little culvert pipe run across the dirt road there. It's 3 or 4 foot diameter, and water run through it. And there's a little stream there. That's when they had the pipe there. And I'll be going out with my fishing pole. My grandma see me, she holler at my grandpa, Tom, you go down there with Wayne now. Make sure he don't fall in and drown. They everybody called me Wayne because my name was Homer Wayne Holland, and so everybody back then called me Wayne. And she'd tell him, make sure Wayne don't fall in and drown. Which, like I'd have to fall in at face first to drown. I mean, it wasn't deep at all. Maybe a foot, maybe or two at the most. I don't even think it was ever 2 foot deep. I don't think. And had some little old fish in there. It wasn't big as nothing. It wasn't even probably wasn't even big as 3 fingers. About as long as 3 fingers maybe. If they was that long, we called them little red eyes, what we called them. And my grandpa wasn't around. My grandma would go down there with me. She'd get her fishing pole, get her bucket. We always have bait because we had the cow lot where we milked the cow. So we always had red wigglers all the time. All the red wigglers, worms that you wanted to fish with. We thousands of them, in that cow lot. So she'd go down and we'd catch a few little fish. We'd take them back out there and she'd clean them, and she'd take them, fry them. You'd eat the damn things whole. I mean, they were so little. Not like eating a sardine. Like I said, a sardine had probably more meat on it than those fish did. But, yeah, it was just one of those things that's all we had to do. I mean, we, like I said, we also got to hunt. But our landlady, she built a pond. There was a watering hole back there on that property. We ran the farm. It was a 100-acre farm, had a pasture. So we had some cows and hogs. And there was a watering hole down there at the end of the pasture, and where the hogs and cows get water and everything. Well, she decided she wanted to build a pond back because she wanted to go fishing some too. And so she built a pond back there and couldn't fish in it for 2 years. She said fish got to get big enough to fish. She put in bass and brim or perch or something other in there. First time I went down there to fish, she said I could go fishing. I just laid my hook. I had a hook and a sinker and a bobber on a fishing pole. And I just laid it in the water while I was getting my bait ready to put on the hook. I just kind of laid it in the water, and the bass got on that daggone thing just from that shiny hook. And I guess the sun hitting it just right and caught a daggone bass out of there without even having any bait on it. First fish caught out of there. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, like I say, we got some other fish and put in there one time. There's a farmer not too far from us had a bunch of rain one year. I mean, drowned the crops and everything, and pond dams broke on different farms. And this one farmer called and told us, about his pond dam broken. He come here and get all the fish we wanted. He said they're all out in his field, down the corner rows and everything. So we went over there with a couple of wash tubs, and we got 2 wash tubs full of fish. I mean, some big fish. I mean, there were bluegill and perch big as your hand, some more bass, and I think it might have been some catfish. I can't remember. We brought them back and put them in that pond. And but it was back then. That's what you had to do. I mean, other people call you about something, you go over there see if you can help them some kind of way. And so I mean, what we could do about fixing this pond dam. And I don't know if you ever fixed it back or not. I couldn't remember my dad even saying. And one time we did get a rod and reel. Well, actually, we got 3 rod and reels and a little tackle box with some lures and some plastic worms in it off the back of a comic book. Back then, your comic books, my brother had an ass load of comic books. Well, the comic book on the back page, a lot of times there'd be an advertisement, for you get 3 rod and reels There's a spinning rod and reel, a bait caster. There might have been two spinning. Anyway, you got three of them. And a little tackle box with some tackle in it, hooks and some sinkers and some little lures for $9.99 for three of them. You can't even buy the daggone rod for $9.99 now, and we got three of them. And right past that little old stream that I would fish in, there's a little, I don't know what you'd call it, just a little hole of water. It wasn't that big. I mean, it wasn't no pond, but it was bigger, about the size of a, excuse me, I can't hold them back. But anyway, it's a little hole of water, and I think a stream might have run into it at one time. But we fished in that thing, and we caught like a smallmouth bass one time. He's pretty good size out of that thing. But you couldn't hardly get in there to fish. It was so growed up around it. Couldn't hardly get to it. It's right next to the road. You can get that one little side there, and then there's limbs and everything right in your way. And but we fished, we fished in little rod and reels, and then we after that pond had been there for a few years, our landlady built. We go and we tear down a waltz nest around the barns. We had a lot of barns out there. Had a corn crib, had a pack house, and then around the house had an old smokehouse where we cooked, where we killed the hogs and made syrup, or like something like a smokehouse. Anyway, and there was plenty of waltz nests. So we tear them waltz nests down, them little larvas in there. Man, that was some of the best fish bait in the world. You could take them things, man, and you could get out and you find you a brim bed where they was bedding. Man, just time that thing hit that water, man, they'd get it. Whap. Man, I mean, just a blink of an eye. If they sat there and they just nibbled at it, they'd get it all. Cause I mean, those larvae were so tender. I mean, there just wasn't much there, to hold them on there. But and then in the Callaway, like I say, we had plenty of red wigglers out there, and I'd go out and dig me up some of them, and I'd get one of my daddy's Prince Albert tobacco tins. It's a can about so tall, about thick as your thumb, about that wide. I fill that thing up red wigglers. I wear a pair of overalls and stick it in the bib pocket of that overall up there on the front. I go down the creek fishing, and it was a couple miles from the house. And most of the time I just went whenever my dad went. My daddy would take us down every now and then, and just to fish. And he wouldn't take no pole. What we do, I'd drag my pole down there, and he'd fuss at me sometimes. Why you want to drag a pole down here? Just we'll cut a little sapling fish for Dad. Oh no, Dad, I want to use my regular fishing pole. We'd go down there and we'd fish down in there. And my daddy, every time he went, he'd cut him a sapling. It'd be about big round as your finger, and plenty of them down there in the creek area. He cut that, and he had his old one from the time we went before. He would take and fish with that, and then when he got done fishing, he would take and roll the fishing line up on that end at the very end and just break it off and stick it in his bib overalls. I mean, never used no bobber. My daddy never used a bobber. It was just a black nylon type fishing line and a sinker and a hook. And you just kind of go around like this right here around the water, around the stump or something other than that creek, and you feel them nibble at it. You just wait and you see your line start moving. You ain't pull it like, hey, set that hook and drag it, pull them right out of there. I mean, we'd go down there and set some bush hooks, kind of like that. We go down there and we just cut some little saplings, about, I don't know, 5, 6 foot long, something like that, and put just a line with a hook and a sinker on it, and put us a piece of meat on it, like rabbit, or we go out and kill us a rabbit. And my dad said we're gonna go set some hooks on. We need to kill us a rabbit or get us some woodpecker or something, And we'd take that meat, cut it little pieces, and put it on them. We get a catfish hooks. That's what was on there. and put that meat on there, and we'd go out there and stick it inside the bank. We called it, a lot of people call them bush hooks, but that's where you tie it right to a bush. So, we just kind of stop it in the side of the bank because there's a lot of roots in there because trees grew up right next to the creek. And catch some catfish, catch some little butter calves, what my daddy called them. They had a little yellow belly. Man, those things were good. Man, they were good. Easy to clean, easy to skin. And regular old speckled cats, man, them buggers, man, whew, them suckers were tough to skin. But them butter calves, man, you just peel that skin off of it, man. And my daddy loved them. I mean, you never catch no big ones. They'd be about so long, maybe a foot, or smaller. But, they were good to eat. And we'd rebait our hooks that night, go back next morning and check them again, get whatever fish was on in there. And sometimes we'd have an eel. And those eels would just twist and twist and twist. And they'd twist their, start getting that line wrapped around them. And they twist themselves plumb up out of the water. We'd go out there and they plumb up at the end of the pole, the little pole we cut. And sometimes we didn't get them. Sometimes we'd take them home and we'd skin them. They were slick, man, like snot. You had to have newspaper to hold them. To try to skin the daggone thing. But wasn't much meat on it. What was there was good meat. I mean, it was just as good as the catfish. It's the freshwater eels. And, it's just a whole different thing about fishing like some people do now, I, people think they got to have an $80,000 boat now to go bass fishing. I had a boat I drug out of the creek, a wooden boat. It cost me a dime. When we got all that rain, I drug a little wooden boat. It don't know where it came from. It floated down the creek, got hung up in some stumps and trees, and I drug that thing out of there, went and got it with the tractor and a little trailer, went and got that thing, brought it home, patched up the end of it. It was rotted out of it, and used that thing to fish out of it. And it cost me a dime. But we used to squirrel hunt too, because we had some pecan trees, and they wanted to keep squirrels out of them as much as we could. And so we'd hunt squirrels. And back then, people, I don't know if they say people, you didn't throw away anything, hardly. If you hunted it, like my dad said, if you hunt it and kill it, you're going to eat it. So, squirrel, rabbit, quail. My daddy rather had a quail trap, but he would eat the ones we shot. We eat everything. My mom would take and boil up some rice or macaroni and throw them squirrels in there and boil them things. Well, she would boil squirrels first. Just boil them till they got real tender. The meat's falling off the bone. And then she would throw in some rice and macaroni in it. And we'd eat that. Man, that was so good. And, people say, well, it's like eating a rat. Well, it might be. If it is, a rat's good to eat then. That's all I can say. But, yeah, squirrels are rodent. And I think so. I think a rabbit's considered a rodent too. And a lot of people raise them to eat. But it was really good. That's the easiest thing living in the world. But I don't know. Everything just seems everything's fast now. You gotta hurry. You got all this stuff to cook stuff in. All these different kind of oil, which I admit I'm using olive oil right now. But back when I was growing up, everything was cooked in lard. Everything. Fish, quail, rabbit, squirrel, steak, chicken, pork chop, whatever. It was all cooked in lard. I mean, of course you had butter, which we had homemade butter because we had a milk cow, so we had our own butter. So everything was just so simple. I mean, it's amazing how much difference it is between now and then. And a lot of people like the way this thing is right now. You know, they like, well, they just thinking there's no way it could be any better than what it is now. It could be a lot better. It'd be a lot simpler. Yeah, you wouldn't have air conditioning. You wouldn't have all this central heat and everything. You know, we had in the house I grew up in on that farm for 8 years. We had a window fan in the. There's a Sears and Roebuck metal window fan. That's what it said right on it. Had that for the summer, and that was in one room in the living room. Didn't have no fan nowhere else in the house. And heat, we had a people call it. My dad called it old, it was just an old wood heater, the cheapest thing they had at the hardware store. It would last one winter. It was just made out of tin, that same type of metal that for your stovepipe was made out of, and they called it like a trash burner heater. It'd last about one winter, about all it would last. But they were cheap, you know. My daddy would set it out in the middle of the living room and run a pipe from the heater back to the old fireplace for the smoke to go out, and build a fire in that thing. Boy, you get up in the morning when it was cold, you grab your clothes up and run up to the living room. You sit there and you just roast, you just turn like you're roasting a marshmallow, you know, just keep turning it to get it brown. Same way to keep warm there, man. You just keep turning around and around and around, standing next to that heater. God, it would be so cold in them old houses. You know, no insulation whatsoever. And but like I say, though, it was a simple life. Nothing was complicated. You know, the most complicated thing you had to deal with was the truck and the tractor. That was the most complicated thing you had. Uh, the old trucks were old. We never had a new truck. Not until I was a teenager. My mom finally bought a brand new 1972 Dodge D100 pickup in 1972. Up until then, we just had used trucks, something my daddy could pick up for a few $100. You know, that old 57 Dodge truck we had, it was held together with baling wire. We'd be going up to town or something, that truck, us kids, we always rode in the back. That's where everybody rode back then, you know, the kids, they always rode in the back of the truck, back in the back bed. You never think about nothing, you know, but wasn't no laws against that kind of crap then. And we ride through town, the damn fender, it was step side truck, so you had a outside fender. That fender would just fall off out there in town. Us boys, we'd jump out of the back of the truck. My dad stopped, and we'd jump out, get that fender, throw it back up in the back of the truck. Then whenever we got home, my dad would get some baling wire, and that we used to bale the peanut hay with. You get that baling wire and wire that booger back on. If it weren't for daggone hammer nails and baling wire, you couldn't farm back then. You had to have that just to hold things together. My daddy used baling wire to latch the gate with. He just run some wire through the post and the gate and just twist the wire up. That was our latch right there for latching the gate. It's some baling wire. God, it was so simple. I really miss those days. I mean, at the time, I thought, oh, gosh, it's got to be better than this. You know, I see them kids from town, you know, and a friend of mine come out to our house lots of time to go hunting and everything. He lived in town. They had a nice brick home and everything. You know, had central heat and air. And I thought, man, they living the life. Now I look back, I was the one that was living the life. Plain, simple, hardly any power bill. I think I heard my dad say the power bill one time was $10 a month for power. You know, $10 an hour wouldn't even pay the taxes on my power bill. Power bill anywhere from $200-300 right up to $400-500, according to what time of the year it is. If I was to get a $10 power bill, I would think I traveled back in time or something other. But you know, it was just so simple then. I mean, I remember my daddy was working whenever they quit farming, my daddy went to work at a chicken farm. Some people from up north built a big laying farm, had 30 laying houses, and they all got jobs there. My mama went to work there picking up eggs, my sister, My daddy got the job feeding the chickens because they didn't have automatic feeders. They had a cart, a big Stratton motor, and it had a big bin on it, a little auger system on it. He'd go through there and it would put the feed out into the troughs. He'd go down one side and turn around the back and come back up, feed the other side. And I forgot what year it was. My daddy got tuberculosis. And he had to go into the hospital, a state hospital, for 3 months. And I kept his job for him by me. I'd get up early in the morning before school. I'd go up there and I'd feed the chickens up there for him. And then when I come in from school, I'd go back and have to feed them twice a day. So I'd go up before school and feed them chickens, go to school, come back home, and feed them chickens again that afternoon. And I kept his job for him for 3 months until he got out of the hospital. Places won't even let you do stuff like that now. You know, I was probably only like 14, 15 years old, something like that, I guess, somewhere along in there. And it was just, everything was different. I mean, it was way different compared to the day. And don't get me wrong, I ain't saying there ain't some good things about today. There's a lot of good things about today. But then it was just simple, though. Everything now is so complicated. I mean, so much red tape and everything. I bought my first car when I was 16 years old. My mama went to the bank with me and signed a note for me to get a $500 loan to buy a Volkswagen Squareback, which is like a little Volkswagen station wagon. And I paid in payments on that thing religiously, you know. And then I bought a $71 Demon while I was still paying on that car. The bank loaned me the money to buy that $71 Demon from a car dealer there in my hometown. And I wasn't even 18 then. I was 17. Yeah, I was 17 then. And I was making payments on those both them cars, you know, working at the Piggly Wiggly. I mean, you know. So I mean, kid can't do that now. You got to be, I think, minimum 18 years old to be able to get a loan, be able to apply for any kind of a little loan, I think, or you might be older than that. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's just, I'd go up there. I mean, if I need a little extra money for something, I could get what they call a 90-day loan, get a couple $100 if I need it for some reason. And just one sheet of paper, they'd fill it out, I'd sign it, they'd give me, you know, a couple $100, and I'd pay it back in 90 days. I mean, you can't get nothing like that now. You go to these little cash advance places, but they charge you an arm and a leg in interest, like 30%. I didn't hardly pay any interest hardly on that loan. I think I'm out to pay $10, $15 interest on that, maybe something like that, if it was even that much. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Everything's just so different now. Anyway, I'm going to cut this off. I've been yammering long enough. If y'all like this kind of stuff, y'all, you know, leave me a comment. You know, make some comments about your life if you want to. You know, let me know something how you lived or something. You know, just a little short quote or something. Give me a like. You know, subscribe to my channel. Appreciate it. You know, anything y'all do for me on there. I mean, I'm not monetized or anything, but you know, I just like for y'all to listen to me about some of the stuff I used to do. So if y'all like it, like I say, subscribe and keep checking it out. I keep trying to put stuff. I've been shy here a little few weeks. I've been down on my back a little bit. I ain't done no work on my garage in 3 weeks or more, closer to a month probably. So I'm gonna try to get back at it and try to get back to work on this thing. But you know, I'll get some more videos on to that. Anyway, y'all have a good day and live life the best you can. And that's all any of us can do.